All right. Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon or good evening, whatever time you're watching this. This is the continuation of the Train the Trainer program. Now, that does not mean that the training is limited to trainers. It's just that I'm going to focus on the trainers a little bit more because I want them to take this training and these ideas to a whole new level at their businesses. So I call it Train the Trainer. But if you're in sales, that'll be great. You can use this. If you're in customer service, you can use it. If you're an entrepreneur, you can use it. And now here's the biggest secret of all. You can use this at home. Yes, you can. You can take this home because it's all about communications. So let's learn how to communicate by using 4 different types of questions. That's the most important thing that I want you to know. Now, in the other courses, I have said, whatever you resist will persist. So we are going to use, during our training program, the law of attraction. I mean, it's like gravity. It works however you use it. What goes around comes around. You've heard that before. Okay? So learn how to ask questions. It's an art to do that. It's an art to ask the right question. But today I'm going to give you all the secrets of the art so that you can learn. But the only thing that you have to do is pay attention, because it's the nuances where communication is really happening, or what I call out here in the ethers. It's like when you meet somebody and you suddenly don't like their way. Yeah, well, they didn't even do anything yet, but yet you have an idea about that. All right, so the person who asks the questions is the person in control. Therefore, every single conversation that you have, you can make the decision yourself as to whether you are going to continue the conversation, stop the conversation, add to the content of the conversation, control the path of the conversation. And all of those things happen because of the way you ask a question. So we're going to say there are all types. There are probably 20 different types of questions, but we're going to focus on the 4 most important ones. The first type is open-ended. That means it encourages explanation and conversation. The second is closed-ended question. Usually requires a one-word answer or a very short answer in response. The third one is alternate choice questions. Alternate choice questions will be simply this or that. Chocolate or vanilla. What do you want? And then in the end, the last one we're going to do is multiple choice questions. Then I'm going to tell you how to learn by your mistakes. All right? Okay, that's the introduction to this section, and we're going to start right away with open-ended questions. As you see, my picture is on the one side of it. I want you to see my face when I talk. And I need to have all my words in front of me so that I can keep on track, because I'm that personality style. It gets, I see a sparkly light and I go toward it. That is why this training is so valuable, not only to me, but to you, because I've had to study very hard to learn these things. And the reason is because I'm so attracted to other things. I mean, I get distracted very easily. All right, my daughter says I immediately go toward any shiny object. All right, so we're going to start today with open-ended questions. What are they? How do they work? All right, so here's the thing. You need to know that open-ended questions usually start with what or how. How, wanting an explanation about how something happened, or what happened. A question, what are you doing tonight? Something like that. So why ask an open-ended question? Well, it encourages the other people to talk. That's the reason we use them. You can gather information. You can get the whole story. And then what happened? Tell me more. Give me the details. Oh, I can't wait to hear all about it. Leave nothing out. The idea is you want to get the whole story sometimes. You want to show interest in the other person. It usually requires a setup, though, to ask an open-ended question. And I will show you how to do that. Because an open-ended question can be risky. It can be unsafe to answer it. So here are some examples of open-ended questions. The purpose of setting up any type of question is always because you want a safe environment. I mean, that's clear, right? We always create a safe environment. We never make the customer feel wrong or stupid, and we don't do it with a question. We don't do it with a statement. We don't do it with an acknowledgement. We always, always have the customer's best interest in mind. And by the way, that's going to end up being your best interest as well. So open-ended question can be an intrusion to the customer. I mean, they may say, you could say, what were you doing last night? Well, maybe that person doesn't wish to answer that question. So there's no setup. There's no easy way. You know, open-ended questions are familiar. By the way, that's why when you get a call on it from a telemarketing company or something, a young man called me the other day. It was so interesting because he opened his question with, my name is, and I know you are Judy McKee, and what are your plans for retirement? Now, he thought that was a good question, except why would I tell a perfect stranger named Neil about my personal finances on the telephone? Why would I ever do that? I would never, ever do that, and most people won't do it. So we have to learn when to ask that open-ended question. If you ask a couple of closed-ended questions first, then the client or the customer or even your sweet loved one will feel safe when they go to answer the question. So you need to learn how to ask an open-ended question, and you need to know how to set up an open-ended question. You would never start a new conversation. Like I always say, never say how are you to a stranger. And why do I say that? I say that because you have no business. You don't know what they're about. You don't really mean it. Now they're saying, how's your day going so far? What if I had a terrible day? What? I'm going to tell you about it? Or why are you asking me that? It's not a good question. How are you to someone you don't know is not a good question. It's much better to say something wonderful than what are you doing New Year's? What are you doing Friday night? See, it's not set up properly. The old joke was, what's a nice girl like you doing in a place like this? Now, I know that really ages me, but that's the truth. So if you want to ask an open-ended question, it should have some type of setup. You know, something on the order of, since we want to look up your account and make sure that your account is safe, what is your Social Security number? If you're calling an outbound call and you want an appointment with someone, it would be better to use a closed-ended question first. All right? A closed-ended first. You know, the thing is that people forget is that we want to make people feel safe, so we need a question that makes them feel safe. People know their name, address, phone number, email, and place of business. They know this. They know their zip code. Sometimes it's just smart to ask for it. It gives you a chance to talk. But the most important thing is that an open-ended question is a wonderful question to gather information and get information, to open a conversation. But if you're going to intrude on the other person's life and you want them to be safe, then you need to set up the question in advance. It would be something like, I'm going to a big gala at the Holiday Hotel in Las Vegas for New Year's. What are you doing New Year's? I've implied that you would get an invitation or be able to go. That's what I want you to do. All right? So don't ask someone, what are they doing next week? What are they doing Friday night? Say, I'd love to take you to the movies. Let's go to the game. Would you like to go with me? What would you like to do on Friday night? That will open the door to a conversation, and you'll have a beautiful one. All right, that's the opening, how to talk about, how to learn open-ended questions. And trainers, you need to prepare open-ended questions for your classroom. And when you ask that open-ended question, what you really want to do is use it, make it particular to your business, and then have your classroom learn to set up that question so it is safe for your customer or client to answer. All right? Okay, we're moving on to closed-ended questions.